Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a former Boeing 737 pilot, and today we are going to fly the iFly 737 MAX 8200 for the first time. The 8200 is the special low-cost version of the 737 that's built to accommodate up to 197 passengers by adding the mid-exit door to the back of the airplane over here. This enables more emergency exits. It is not used for standard operation, and because the airplane has more emergency exits available, you can fit more passengers into the airplane. What's really nice as well is that iFly have built this airplane specifically with the Ryanair configuration. After all, the airplane has been built for Ryanair in the real world anyway. So this is what the cabin looks like. You can see that there is no divider door in the front, just like in the real world Ryanair config. And then when we go back to the mid-exit door, you will see a slightly different cabin layout than the standard Boeing 737-8. So you can see that there is an additional cabin crew station over here, meaning that you'll only have one flight attendant in the back, and then you'll have one sitting over here at the mid-exit doors, so that they are usable for passengers as well. And I'm telling you, if you're sitting here, flight attendant sitting here, that thing is getting cramped. But then again, this is Ryanair, so what are you expecting? Additionally, you can see that lavatories have been moved into the very back of the aircraft over here, making more room in the cabin as well. So the toilets that had originally been positioned over here are now located in the back over here. So that's once again saving a little bit of space in the cabin so that you can fit 197 passenger seats into the cabin of the MAX 8200. Overall, the airplane has been specifically designed for Ryanair, even though by now a couple other airlines have purchased the type as well, as it simply provides for a lower cost per kilometer per seat, so due to the simple fact that there are more seats fitting into the aircraft. Standard 737-800 or standard 737-8 can fit 189 maximum, which is limited due to the certification requirements of the ability to evacuate the aircraft within 90 seconds. And now with the extra exits added, you can fit more passengers into the aircraft. Still less than 200 though, because from 200 onwards you would need a fifth flight attendant, which would once again rise the operating cost of the aircraft. So really lovely to see that done. So let's go inside and prepare our MAX for today's flight. We're going to fly from Budapest to Bristol using the brand new SoFly Budapest scenery, which is a really fantastic looking one, and I want to show it to you a little bit throughout the course of today's flight. Obviously, this is going to be a Ryanair relops, and we will be aiming for completely realistic procedures here. Now, one thing, first of all, that I did once again forget, my apologies, I gotta assign that throttle. The reason I keep forgetting that, if you're wondering here, is that you've got different airplane variants per livery, so for every single livery you need to reassign your controls. That's a little annoying. I hope that that is something iFly would do something about with a future update. That would really be nice. But hey, for the time being, we got what we got, so let's go ahead and make the best out of it. So, flight recorder is tested, the clackers are tested, the stall warning system is tested, and then we can turn the IRSs both into nav, and then we can take a seat on the captain's seat of our MAX. Let's go ahead and run the light test, which is all looking good. Like this, then we can also test these, and then finally do the oxygen test. Alright, and looking up here, that is looking fantastic. Okay, perfect. So with that, we finished our initial setup here. A little fuel in there. Oil quantities are looking good. Hydraulic quantity is looking good. And then we can reset that fuel flow. And then let's go into the electronic flight bag. In case you haven't noticed, you can actually change the background of the EFB, which is quite the nice feature. Alright, now let's go into the Navigraph app and get our SimBrief flight from Budapest to Bristol, and then have a quick look into the OFP. Starting with the weather. Budapest, light showers of rain, 23 degrees, 1012, temporary 325, gust 35, just to make it a little fun, and a QNH of 1012 is selected on each side, looking good. Alright, in Bristol we're looking at good weather, light showers of rain are forecast for tomorrow. Today, really lovely weather, 07085, few clouds. Currently 27, might become runway 09, we'll see about that. 27 would be my personal favorite, because runway 27 has that lovely slope, which makes landing on that runway really interesting. But we'll see whatever is going to be current at the time we get there. Now, quick look into the... okay, or not, too bad. Alright, well then let's go right up and have a look into our plan. Leaving Budapest, we are going to arrive a little late in Bristol, unfortunately. Weights are all looking good. Pretty heavy today, 63.6. Cruising in flight level 360, and then we can have a look into the fuel where we need 8.8. Now, do we need any more than that? Not really. So let's go ahead and load, well, 8.9 so that we have sufficient fuel for the APU. Alright, so that's gonna be 197 passengers, so maximum load. And then for our cargo we are going to take an additional 1,100, like that, and for the fuel 8,900. That's all looking good. Load aircraft, and you can do that in real time, please. 19 minutes. And off we go. Okay, good. So let's do some preliminary performance calculation here. We're leaving Budapest on runway 31 left. The runway is wet. Then let's import the weather and let's go for flaps 5, air conditioning on, anti-ice off. It's 21 degrees, so we don't need to worry about that. And for our weights, we are looking at an estimated takeoff weight of 73 tons. So let's select takeoff weight 73, and we don't know CG yet, so that's fine. Alright, so we got all that stuff, but looks like it needs a CG to be able to calculate, so I'm just gonna enter something here. Okay, so rating, takeoff 2, ATM max, calculate. Okay, it can't do takeoff 2, then let's do takeoff 1, calculate. And that is looking good. Alright, so we know we can depart. D takeoff 1, 40 degrees, all looking fantastic. Then finally, let's go back into the Navigraph app and go for the terminal charts. Departing Budapest, taxi charts. So we will need the general airport chart. That thing is pinned. Now it is. And then let's see about our parking stands. Here we go, standing down here at 31 right, I think it is. Alright then, and for our SID, we got the Gilep to Lima departure. And that's down here, Gilep to Lima. Okay, all pinned. With that, the EFB is ready to go. So let's go ahead and start setting our plane up for today's flight. Now look at that. You can actually put the EFB down here. Got that wrong on my first video. Kind of interesting how they got a very similar feature set to PMDG, but ain't gonna comment too intensively on that because I just know that it is going to spark a lot of controversy online if I say that iFly has a very, very similar feature set to PMDG. Okay, anyway, let's get going. So, 737-8, 27K engine, nav database up to date, then we're in LHBP, and we can copy that GPS position, paste it here, Budapest to Echo Golf Golf Delta, as Ryanair, what are we today? 4 Quebec Kilo. That's going to be an interesting call sign. Alright, for our departures, we are leaving Budapest, 31 left, Gilep to Lima. And then let's go ahead and program that route. Yes, Ryanair pilots need to do that manually. There is no automatic nonsense there. No uplinks. So, towards Zolku. Then direct Begla. Nope, I wrote that wrong. Okay, here's Begla, then we continue towards Dexit. Direct Inbed. Hope that's with a good cabin crew. Okay, direct Bombi. Direct Adkuf. Direct Dinat. Lima 610 Copol. And then Quebec 63 Ictam. And Ictam 1 Bravo rather runway 27 for the time being. So ILS 27 and Ictam 1 Bravo. Okay, so let's have a look into what we have just programmed. Okay, no way to get the nav display on the outside because that would be rather nice. Always put the FB down here on top of the auto brake switch in the real world because that made it easier to track the routing that you've just programmed. Okay, anyway, we proceed straight out to waypoint 001, max 230, left waypoint 821, right to Pukok and then to Gilad. And that looks pretty much correct. Initial climb clearance is 7,000, so let's just put that in here, and then we've got our routing finished. So let's go back into the OFP. So cost index 27, reserve fuel 2.4, zero fuel weight 63.6, flight level 360, top of climb wind 285 at 87. And ISI deviation +3. Transitional altitude 10,001. And then let's go for the takeoff page. Over here we can take a wet runway. Okay, acceleration height is going to be 3000 AGL, just as a reminder down here. 250 below 10,000 is in. And since we have a speed limit on the first turn, we can't enter anything manually. Alright, then let's go for the engine out, which is going to be Lima Hotel Bravo Papa. What's the runway track? 307/15. Like that. Then let's create a discontinuity up there and enter a holding. That's going to be 307. Inbound right-hand turns, and the MSA over here is 3,600, so we're gonna go up to 4,000. And interestingly enough, the bug with the altitude limit on the holding page is still there. See, if I enter 4,000 above, it creates 4,000 below in there. You can do exactly at 4,000, it takes that without problems, but it doesn't accept an above restriction. That's a bug. Okay, anyway, fixed page LHBP/25, and then we'll copy and paste that engine out waypoint into here, and that's it. Alright, cool. So let's put that tablet away again, and then we can go back to work. Getting our airplane all set up. Okay, that's looking good. Refueling is still in progress. What's the temperature doing inside? 21, fantastic. So we'll be cruising in 360. And then a quick check. Landing field elevation is 620 minus 50 because the FMS always adds a bit. So they're basically looking at 550. Okay. Then let's go up here. Flight director's on. Mine is gonna be master. Climbing 7,000, 307 up here, and the same goes over here. Like that. Alright, so traffic, airport, and terrain, and the same on your side. Like this. Auto brake RTO, fuel flow reset. Let's see about the frequencies. So that's gonna be delivery 134.54. Active, ground 121.905. Like that. For our radio, we've got Budapest 17.3. Being active, and let's just turn the brightness up a bit. Like that. Listening to VHF 1 and 2. On number 2, we're gonna go for 1215. And then 17.3. Okay, and the squawk machine 2000. Rhino doesn't have the above and below control, so I'm just going to keep it on the middle to simulate what the Rhino system would indicate. And then let's also set that parking brake. And finally we do need the ATIS, which is on 132.38. At this time, iFly does still not simulate data link, so we have no way of obtaining the ATIS digitally over here. Gotta live with that. Alright, and from Pomax, I'll just enter the 10-mile final. Like that. Okay. So, MFRA, probably 1500. Or 1480 if you like. Like that. Okay, fantastic. Then we're all set up. Let's see, the boarding seems to be in progress still. Refueling is finished. Alright, and the pumps are coming on. Great. So that's our pre-flight setup completed. So let's go right for the departure briefing. Threats for today? Honestly, don't see any. Okay, route check. We're going from Lima Hotel, Bravo Papa to Echo Golf Golf Delta, Romeo Yankee Romeo 4 Quebec Kilo. Then our route is going to be via Gileb to Lima, to Gileb, direct Zolku, direct Begla, direct Dexit, direct Inbet, direct Bombi, direct Atkuf, direct Dinat, Lima 610 Copal, Quebec 63 Incam, and that's a ground distance of 907 versus 904. Close enough for my taste. Okay, the time UTC is 1240, altimeter 1012, reading 480, MFRA 1480, flight directors on, minus master, standby instruments set. It's a left seat takeoff, runway 27, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure number 1, and our engine out straight at 15 miles to pick up the holding, climbing 4000, which is safe above the MSA of 3800. For the emergencies above 80 knots, I'll only call stop for fire warning, engine failure, predictive wind shear warning if the aircraft is unable or unsafe to fly. If I call stop, I will simultaneously close the thrust lever and disengage the auto throttle, apply maximum manual braking, and verify operation of the RTO auto brakes. Manually raise the speed brake lever, apply maximum reverse thrust, and when the aircraft comes to stop, I will set the parking brake. Okay, so if you call stop, I will note the brakes on, speed and call speed brakes up or speed brakes not up, and thrust reverse normal at normal indications. I'll call 100 knots, 80 knots, 6 knots, and the runway distance remaining. Verify your actions, call in emissions, I call auto brake disarm, and select flaps 40 when the parking brake has been set, and advise ATC of the reject. We then identify the failure and carry out angels as appropriate. If we decide to evacuate, we redo the evacuation checklist. Time permitting, we'll pull the CBR circuit breaker, you grab the lid, and then we get out. If the call before V1 is keep going, there will be no actions below 400 feet except to cancel any warnings and raise the landing gear with a positive rate. At 400 feet, verify heading select and carry out memory items. At the MFA, buck up, retract flaps and schedule, flaps up and right, select level change to max, continue thrust, engage the automatics, non-normal checklist, normal checklist, bios in its PA, and then we come up with a plan. So our taxi is going to be a pushback most likely into the main alley. Let's see that over here. Pushback most likely into there, and then taxi out onto main taxiway down here to Alpha, to holding point Alpha 2, runway 31 left. Our departure is the GILAB to Lima departure, which is on chart 10-3 hotel, effective 27th of November. Transition altitude 10,000 versus 10,001, and in here we have runway 31 left and the GILAB to Lima. Okay, our routing leads us straight at left, right, and that's it. There is a speed restriction included here, so we're not going to bother with anything else. And the stop altitude is 7,000, and we got that once and twice. Okay, do you have any questions? No. Fantastic, then that's our departure briefing completed. So let's get the ATIS and the iFly clearance.
134 Zulu. Arriving runway 31 right. Departing runway 31 left. Wind 290 at 20. Visibility 10. View at 6,000 towering cumulus. Broken at 7,000. Temperature 23, dew point 9er. QNH 1012. Transition level 120. Bird activity in vicinity of airport. Cosmic response team active in cargo area. Expect minor delays. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Juliet.
Alright, ATIS Juliet on board. Now let's go for our clearance. Budapest delivery, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, information Juliet, request IFR clearance to Bristol.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, cleared to Bristol via the Guilin 2 Lima departure runway 31 left. Initial climb 7,000. Departure on 119.510, squawk 6467.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo is cleared to Bristol via the GILAB to Lima departure runway 31 left. Climb 7,000, departure 119.51, squawk 6467. Alright.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, read back correct. Contact ground on 121.905.
121.905, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. Okay, so we got that. 31 left, GILAB to Lima, 7,000 checked twice, departure 119.51. Let's tune that as a reminder. Like that, and squawk 6467. Alright, and that's the departure clearance confirmed. So I think we're pretty much good to go. Let's go ahead and start the APU. And then let's see if we can already convince GSX to prepare for position, for pushback and departure. In the meantime, payload and balance. 2 minutes remaining. Zero fuel weight, 63.6. And that's exactly as planned, giving us 72.4. And that is also as planned. So, performance, 70 to 400. What is it doing? 7 to 400, please, thank you. And then down here we'll have a CG of 21.6.
Eurowings 54 Romeo, request push and start clearance.
Eurowings 54 Romeo, push and start approved.
Well, what is it
Push
doing?
back and start approved. Eurowings
Sometimes it's doing
54
strange
Romeo.
things here. Alright, that's looking good. So 21.6, all the rest is looking good. Let's just load the latest weather. And that's all good. Alright, calculate. So flaps 5, 41 degrees on takeoff 1. So takeoff 1 and 41 degrees, 86.9. Flaps 5, 21.6. Trim 6.2 units.
With the Air 9er Tango uniform contact tower on 118.715.
Okay, boarding completed. Good. So speeds 37, 47, 53. And that's all within 1 knot, so we can take the FMS speeds. And here we go, 152 is selected, so that's all looking good. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon from the flight deck. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel. In the name of Ryanair, welcome aboard of our Boeing 737-8200 on our flight to Bristol. Today's flight time will be 2 hours and 40 minutes, expecting a smooth ride at an altitude of 11,300 meters. For the time being, sit back, relax, and enjoy the trip with us, and I would like to ask you to pay your full attention to the cabin crew safety demonstration that's going to commence very shortly, as that is not just for your own safety, but also for the safety of the other passengers sitting around you. Okay, and they're starting with the demo, so let's go ahead and bring that APU online. With the demo, we can turn the no smoking sign on auto, and then let's do the safety inspection checklist and before start checklist down to the line. So, services and shocks checked, maintenance status checked, battery on, electric hydraulic pumps on, landing gear lever down, ship's livery checked, IRS mode selectors nav, ELT armed, gear pins 103 removed, probe covers 10345 removed. Lighters checked, oxygen test 100%, yaw damper on, nav transfer display switches normal and auto, fuel, that's 8 required, 8 9 on board with 6 pumps on, cabin utility traffic galley power on, emergency exit light on, fast modes on, window heat on, air cannon press, pack throttle bleeds on set, pressurization mode selector, auto, instruments, cross checked, auto brake, RTO, hydraulics, normal, speed brake. Down to 10, parking brake set, stop and cut switches normal, wheel fire warning checked, radius, radar and transponder, set and standby, rudder and aileron trims 3 and 0, takeoff briefing discussed, PA complete, FMC CDU set, N1 and ES bags, automatic, reduce takeoff 1, speeds 374752, and that's set, stop trim 6.2 set, performance weight and balance, sign send, phones off, EFB, airplane mode stowed, flight awareness and cockpit door, locked, doors closed, passengers seated. Before start checklist complete. Alright, so let's get rid of the ground services. The brake is set, so the trucks can go, the ground power can go, and then let's call for pushback clearance. Budapest ground, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, request pushback and startup.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, pushback approved, face northwest.
Pushback approved, facing northwest, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. Before start checklist below the line, air compacts off, anti-collision light on, parking brake set, transponder out off, before start checklist complete. Okay, ground from cockpit. Please confirm that all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment is removed, and the bypass pin is installed. And that is all confirmed. Roger that, then you're cleared to push. And let's see. Where the heck is... Okay, Papa 1's gotta be somewhere up there. No, we're gonna exit via Hotel 1, so facing exit point Hotel 1. Okay. Alright, so release parking brake please. And the parking brake is released. Thank you. Starting the pushback, and you're clear to start both engines at your discretion. Alright, starting engines 2 and 1 in that sequence. Engine to start. Just take a moment to appreciate the lovely ground coulee by SoFly on their fantastic Budapest scenery here. Excellent job on that one. Now this building here, I don't know, I mean it's well modeled, but I got no idea why I would place something like that in the middle of an apron. If anyone knows the story behind that, do share it in the comments below. Alright, so... pushback is completed, set parking brakes. Parking brake set. Start a cutout, monitor 2. Isolated pack operation, starting 1.
Contact tower on 118.715.
Engine 1 start, and 2.
Tower, Eurowings 54 Romeo, thanks.
Talk about tower, what's the frequency? 18715. Why not pre-select that already? Like this. So, N2, all press N1. Alright, there's a tuck, there's a tow bar. And there's a ramp agent.
Wizard 2863, taxi to the ramp.
And she's got a pin. Excellent.
Wizard 2863, taxi to parking via Zulu, Lima.
Okay, we have 2 good starts, clear to disconnect. Please prepare the airplane for taxi and I'll see you in front. Have a good day, bye bye. Alright, start a cutout. And that was 1:12 for a cold engine. Quite the different timing from our Southwest flights at higher altitude and temperatures. So there's hope that they have worked on that engine start. Okay, flight controls. Full up, full down, neutral. Full left, full right, neutral. And the rudder, full left, full right, and neutral. They have definitely worked on the frame rate of the animation here. See how smooth that is now? Okay, before taxi checklist. Generators on, APU off, start switches continuous, probe heat on, anti-ice off, air conditioning, PAX auto, bleeds on, isolation valve auto. Flaps 5 required, 5 selected, and a green light. Stop trim 6.2 required set. Start levers idly turned. Flight controls checked. Recall checked. Before taxi checklist complete. Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo request taxi.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, runway 31 left taxi via Hotel 1 Alpha, Alpha 2.
Taxi at holding point runway 31 left via Hotel 1 Alpha and Alpha 2 Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. Okay, so that's straight ahead, Hotel 1 Alpha, and Alpha 2 is the holding point. Okay, clear left side and clear right side. Brake released, config. It's checked. So, I would expect the plane to taxi on its own, without any need for thrust, but it's not doing it. Now some people might say, but you're heavy, you shouldn't expect it to roll. Well, can tell you that much, at 75 tons takeoff weight, going from the Canaries back home, with a full load of passengers, it taxied as well, on idle. And this one here is colder, lighter, and at the same elevation. So that's pretty much the factors that could have an influence here. So I would say they still need a little bit more static thrust than they currently have. Okay, the right side is clear, the left side is clear, so we continue via Hotel 1. And then we go up left. And again, both sides clear. Iconic Budapest Tower over there. Okay, before takeoff, check this to the line. Config check, flaps 5.5 green light, step trim 6.2 set. That was the cabin.
Approved, no conflicting traffic.
Hi, Emmanuel here.
The cabin is now
Thank you very much. Okay, so, lefty takeoff, 3-1 left, flaps 5, noise 2, speeds 37, 47, 52, engine out straight at 15 to hold above 4,000, and the normal sit straight at left out, 230 knots maximum, so we can clean up all the way. And that's it. Any questions? Nope. Fantastic. Cabin crew, cabin secured. Before takeoff checklist completed down to the line. Have that on here? Yes, we do.
approaching 3-1 left.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, contact tower on 118.715.
118.715, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. Bye-bye. Budapest Tower, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, ready for departure. And departure is pre-selected.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, Budapest Tower, runway 31 left, winds 270 at 15, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 31 left, cleared for takeoff, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. Okay, cabin crew, prepare for departure.
Approaching 3-1 left. Approaching 3-1 left.
So, takeoff runway is 31 left, below the line please, MCP set, transponder Tara, strobe lights on, landing lights on, before takeoff checklist complete. Okay, takeoff. Set takeoff thrust. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. 80 knots, checked. V1. Rotate. Positive climb, gear up. LNAV. So, look at this. Compared with our last takeoff in Denver, this one gives us exact 15 degrees of pitch to maintain the speed, just like it should be.
Quebec Kilo, contact Budapest departure on 119.510.
119.51, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, bye-bye. Budapest, good afternoon, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, passing 2,500, climbing 7,000. That speed buck is wrong, should be at 172.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, Budapest departure identified. Climb flight level 120.
Climbing flight level 120, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. Set. Okay, and buck up. Set standard. Flaps 1. Speed check. I'm not sure what the route is doing there. That line drawing is not correct. Flaps up. And just update that inbound to waypoint 821, please. Here, this is much better. Okay, flaps up, no lights. Engage VNAV. And after takeoff checklist whenever it is convenient. And just update that direct once more. Welcome to the world of flying Boeing.
Flight level 240.
Climbing flight level 240 Ryanair for Quebec Kilo. Okay. Set. 240 checked. VNAV. So the pitch and power figures on this departure are looking a lot better than they did on the last one. Nope, not gonna level off. Alt and event. Okay, Command A, and after takeoff checklist. Attack and press, 2.1, climbing and set. Altimeters, standard, passing level 7.5 now. After takeoff checklist complete, and release the cabin crew. Alright, so a little bit of stuff on the weather radar over here, which by the way is new with the Service Pack 1 of the iFly. Previously they didn't have weather radar, now they do. And since we cleared a climb above level 150, let's remove the climb derate. Alright. Climb performance is still much too strong though. 3,800 on a 737 MAX, you're not gonna get that. Altimeters. Passing 102, climbing 240, 10 checks. Fuel is balanced with 6 pumps on. The lights are off. APU off. Air can press, 3.6, climbing set. Fast belts. Yeah, I think we can let them go. Animals out. Recall checked. Monitoring 1 to 1.5. And that's the 10 tracks completed. Alright, I think for the time being, that's what I got for you here. So, let's see if we can get something on the right side here.
Climb flight level 280.
Climbing level 280 right now for Quebec Kilo. Set, 280 checked, VNAV. Alright, so we got a route over here. Do we have full screen mode for that? Because I think that would be nice. But it doesn't look like it. No? Okay, well that's fine. Actually, we do. Okay, nice. So then we'll use this one. Fantastic. So guys, we'll see about that weather over there, but looking outside, probably that, yeah, we'll easily outclimb that. Now, as a little fun fact, the 737 MAX weather radar that's fitted to this aircraft here, which is the Intuvu 4000 radar, the same one that I flew with on the 737, that thing should give you anything that's not relevant for your flight path in dashes. So if something shows solid like it does over here, it would mean that that weather is actually relevant for our flight path. However, looking outside, I can easily tell you that it's not. But you'll see it for yourself when we continue the climb. You'll see that this is not going to affect us. Therefore, this weather over here should all be dashed and not solid on the weather radar. One of the nice features of the 737 MAX's weather radar. Now, it has a lot of downsides as well. We'll talk about them if we should ever get into a proper position. But yeah, that's what I got for the time being. So I'd say sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight with us. And then I see you all when we start the approach over in Bristol.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, Bristol approach identified. Hello, cleared BRI-1 transition. Expect the ILS runway 27 approach into Bristol. Advise you have information Quebec.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, information Quebec is on board, and we expect the ILS runway 27. Alright guys, so we are descending towards Bristol, and it's typical British weather over here. We're gonna have a light tailwind on the ILS approach runway 27. Now, we will get radar vectors in a couple of moments here when we are nearing the end of the arrival routing. For the time being, we just continue down as cleared via the ITCAM arrival. Okay, then let's go ahead and have a look into our approach. So we're descending to 70, and our current weather is a wind of 040 at 4, QNH 1020 at a temperature of 19. Let's just see if there is any update available, but nope, there isn't. So we're gonna stick with what we got over here, and we're actually forced to use Vera flaps 40, so Vera 40 plus 5. And auto brake max, otherwise the runway is not long enough according to the iFly calculator. Now to be totally honest, 2000 meters it should be able to do flap 30 or flap 40 auto brake 3 landing, but iFly says no, so for the time being we do know. Okay, then let's have a look into the arrival, and for that I'm going to take you on the standard approach briefing over here. And we're gonna make sure that that approach is pinned as well. Okay, so threats for the arrival. We've got the runway, and the runway is the main threat for this arrival over here. And that is because the runway has a pretty strong slope. Unfortunately, there is no chart available that would show this properly, but basically runway 27 has a pretty low threshold. You can nicely see that and then the runway is rising quite significantly before it's dropping a little bit again towards the threshold of runway 09. That means that when you're touching down over here, you can actually not see the end of the runway. So that's quite interesting, flying that. Can tell you in the real world there have been lots of positive landings over there, and I might have done a couple of those myself. Alright, so let's go ahead and have a look into the briefing then. So, with that we have talked about the big threat that we got on this approach. What is it doing?
Kilo, turn right, heading 250, vectors for the ILS runway 27 approach.
Right, 250, vectors ILS 27, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. Okay, heading 250, and then let's do level change and speed to 50. Okay, so speeds are in, forecast is in, fixed rings, runway 27, 10 miles, 4 miles, and for the approach, we have an ILS approach to runway 27 in here, and that thing starts at the Fox 27 and 2500, 3-degree glide down to the minimum, which is 801, and that is set, and the go-arounds climb straight out to 3000, then as directed, and in here we got straight ahead. Then let's just quickly delete that stuff down here, and there's a bug. If you delete the fix before the holding, that should delete the holding as well. Small bug, but not a biggie. Okay, so we got that stuff. Fixed rings, as mentioned, 10 miles, 4 miles. And for the approach, Roger, descended to 3000 now, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. Okay, set, 3000 checked. Then we are clear of all those clouds, engine out, the eyes off. Okay, and then let's get a little speed brake in here. Quite difficult to set the lever correctly, because every time I try to move it backwards a little bit, the lever itself moves forward and then jumps backwards. That's something that iFly really needs to fix. Okay, so altimeters, passing 173,000, 10 checks. And before we do that, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, request QNH. So, fuel balance, 4 pumps, lights, on bank 25. No, that is not a Roger. Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. Request the current QNH.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, current QNH 1010.
I don't believe that. The Meta says 1020. Well, let's use 1020. So QNH, cross-checked, 8,860 now. Okay, so with that we got that stuff. So fuel balance, 4 pump lights on, bank 25, action press. That's 2.8 descending set, fast modes on, recall checked. Should have been more like 3.5 really. Okay, flaps 1. Okay, and 21.5 is still selected. Cabin crew, prepare for landing. And that's the 10 checks complete. And flaps 5. This gives the 737 the best descent angle. 220, flaps 5.
Turn left, heading 225.
Left 225, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. And here we go. Alright. Well, that is a little bit too steep. You should get around 1,800, 2,000. Well, call it 2,300 maximum. So this right now is okay. This is a bit too much, but you get the idea. Okay, so we've got all that stuff. Now, let's do the first check. And to finish up the briefing, 3.2. Minimum required is 2.4, so we have 20 minutes extra. And flaps 40 as mentioned. Okay, so frisk. Frequency 110.15, fixed rings, runway 27, 10 miles, 4 miles, items, India Bravo Tango Sierra, cross-checked, standby instruments are set, and the course is 266. Approach checklist.
Kilo, speed 185 knots.
Unable. Because if we start reducing now, we won't be able to catch the glide. Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, we need to maintain 220 for the time being.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, 6 miles from FF27, turn right heading 245, descend 2500 until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS, runway 27 approach.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, right heading 245, descending 2500, cleared ILS, runway 27. Okay, Volo count.
Quebec Kilo, maintain heading 220.
No. Volo capture. Runway heading 266. Okay, the glide is coming alive and we're 10 miles out, 4,200, that looks okay. Approach on, blast of capture.
Tower on 133.855.
133.855, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, bye bye. So I forgot that frequency already. 33855. Alright, and gear down. Bristol Tower, good afternoon, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, ILS 27. Plus 15.
Expect late landing clearance, runway 27.
Hello, flight deck. Thank you. Alright, flaps 25. Speed check, flaps 25. And then you could please put up the VSD. Thank you. Flaps 40. Speed checked. Flaps 40. So, landing checklist. Start switches, continuous, recall checked, speed brake, armed green light, landing gear down 3 green, auto brake max, flaps 40, 40 green light, and holding at landing lights. Okay. So that thing slowed down quite a bit better than the real one would have. You could see how easy it was to slow it down. I went for the gear a little early because I really expected that it wouldn't slow down that well. But okay, anyway, here we are. So I'm not going to complain about that. Okay then. Here we are, all manual.
1,000.
Checked. So, we are still going to get a light tailwind over here.
1,000.
Checked.
Approaching 27. Approaching altitude 800 meters. Available.
Why do I have a double RAS? I did disable VRAS, didn't I? Of course, the iFly has its own RAS integrated. Okay, here we are. 500 continue. Tad high, but correcting for that. So, you can really see the slope of the runway there. Makes the runway look a little shorter than it actually is, and makes it a bit harder to judge the flare correctly. Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, are we clear to land?
Minimum.
Continue.
100.
We'll just say yes, huh?
50. 40. Clear yellow. 40. 10. 5.
Okay, speed brake up, thrust was normal. 100 knots. Here you can see that slope. Okay, manual brakes. Alright, and that's what I meant. You can't see the end of the runway while you're rolling uphill over here. That makes Bristol a really interesting airport.
300
Welcome to Bristol. Contact ground on 121.9 and 3.
121.9 Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo.
100 remaining.
Okay, would you be so kind to tune that for me, please? Plus, I got to do a little bit of navigating here so that we don't fall down the hill. The airport fence is missing. Rather pronounced in the real world. In Bristol. Bristol ground, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. Request taxi to the gate.
Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo, taxi to East Apron Gate 8 via Golf Zulu. Good day.
Gate 8 via Golf Zulu, Ryanair 4 Quebec Kilo. Good day. Okay, so we got our taxi routing, then let's clean up. So if you engage level change while you're on the ground with a speed lower than 100, it should really go down to 100 knots. That's a little bug. Okay, so gate 8 via Golf Zulu. Let's have a quick look where that is. If you would be so kind to load the charts, please. In the meantime, everything's done here. Recall is checked. Okay, so number 8 is in the very back over there. Okay. So we go all the way to the end and then onto that apron. That's fine with me. Alright, so that was a late landing clearance. But we got the clearance before we touched down, so that is all you can ask for. That's really how this works in the real world as well.
4 November uniform, contact tower on 133.855.
Tower, Channing for November uniform.
So, blue handling, perfect, that's what we want. The easy is far enough away, fantastic. Did you see that? Did you just see that? No comment. So we are going to do standard draw now. Okay, we will leave the APU off. Okay, here's number 9. What is all that ground staff doing there? That's exactly our gate. Yeah, that looks fucked up. Okay, I don't care. Reset GSX. So, lights off. Interesting how it says 11 over here, even though... Oh well, I don't care. Probably because it's the opposite side? I don't know, not clear on the charts. And... in the real world, to probably have had a marshal on this one anyway. Okay, so parking brake is set, shutdown engine number 2. So, give me a GPU, please. And there's 2 blue, 1 red, engines dead. Okay, and then we can do the parking checklist, please. Or rather, transit shutdown checklist. Which is electrical on grandpa, fast modes off, probe heat. Auto, anti-air is off, voice recorder on, air compressor auto, engine bleeds on, APU bleed off, exterior lights, steady and wheel well, start switches off, auto brake off, speed brake down to 10, flaps up on light, parking brake set, start levers cut off, weather radar off, transponder 2000 standby, CV-RCB in, and cockpit door unlocked. And that's our transit shutdown checklist complete. So, can we get any ground services here? Nope, GSX crashes straight away. Fine with me. In that case, let's see if we can extend those air stairs. Lovely ambience in the cabin, by the way, isn't it? That's looking really great. Okay, so yeah, here's where the buttons should be. So looks like we can't extend the air stair manually. Alright, so be it. And in that case, nonetheless, welcome to Bristol. Hope you enjoyed that one. Our first flight in the 8200. I'm sure many more are going to follow, but for now, leave your feedback in the comments underneath the video. As always, like, comment and subscribe, and if you really love what I'm doing on this channel, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.